what's going on with Netflix, with children. That's my simple, quick discourse this morning. It's a beautiful day, as you can see. We're still hearing my good friends, which are the birds, if you listen very clearly and closely. Remember those early days during the pandemic when my mask, when I actually started the walk. One of the very interesting things was the birds, the beauty of the birds, the natural nature, and the peaceful atmosphere. And you've got to make sure that you keep that in check. Nature and the beauty of the atmosphere. And one of the things that can break that up, especially with life, it is when you have things that try to define the way our things should be. Big corporation, big organizations, trying to mess things up. And ladies and gentlemen, I was appalled when I started to see all these campaigns against Netflix based on a particular show which they are airing. The campaign was going on before, and apparently it is being shown. And what it is, if you don't know, it is of little girls sexualizing themselves on TV. And as a result of that, Netflix has a backlash. My personal gross against this is that if you slip, you slide. You take an inch, they go for a mile. And there's something subtle going on. It's nothing new, really. I think we all know this. There's nothing new going on. There's a pedophilia culture which is rampant. For years, nothing new. And some will say, well, it's hard to fix now. But I tell you this, just because things may get out of hand, that doesn't mean to say it have to get out of your hands, right? Just because things seem to have gotten out of hand doesn't mean to say it have to get out of your hand. But what disturbs me even more about this is where I see people try to justify it by saying it is a particular storyline. And I find it utterly repulsive, utterly disgusting. And especially for those with little children. They may have an extra account for their child or so. But the fact of the situation is that these children will have access somehow to these things. Then all of a sudden, it will become like the norm. And when it becomes the norm, that is when the big corporations, for the sake of money, will somehow infiltrate your home, get into your minds of your children. It's unfortunate that children are not anymore as innocent as we. With the advent of the social media, the advent of games, sometimes you might not even know who they're speaking to. So you got to monitor it. And especially when you got very young children, boys and girls, one has got to be very careful at this morning, how are you? And I just wanted to, at the end of my walk, just to bring it to your attention. I'm not into anything about debating it, not into anything about storyline to say it is actually showing you what is out there. And about children, let children be children. Yeah? Let children be children. That's my saying. Simple as that. Let children be children. Let not make them to be adults. Let not have to feed them information which is not right at the time. Remember, if one is into food. Just because it looks good, that doesn't mean to say it's right. Just because this is my section where I stop and have a quick chat. Just because the cake looks nice, it may be bad for your heart. Just because the jerk chicken look well and nice, it may clog up your arteries. Just because the salt makes it look better, that doesn't mean to say it's good for you. And that doesn't mean to say it's good for your children. All right? So, as adults, you've got a responsibility to ensure that your children don't get out of hand, or the big corporation don't get hold of them. It is subtle in this world as we are now. Very simple subliminal messages which are going around. And I'm disgusted and I'm repulsed by what Netflix is doing. And sometimes people really do have an opportunity to make a difference by taking a stance. But if you dare try to justify it in any way, they've got you. You don't need, and I'm not going to even mention the name of the show, because just like I normally do, there are subtle ways these organizations, big corporations, they do, and they put it out there and they expect you to also promote it. So this is not a promotion of it. If you notice, I don't mention a name, and I won't mention a name, but I'll just say it's a pedophilia show which is on Netflix that promotes pedophilia, because pedophiles are persons based on studies who get off and get excited by looking at little children. And that's why sometimes I say to parents, sometimes don't put your naked babies on the internet. Make sure you put appropriate pictures of your children, right? Because pedophiles, that is their MO. That's where they get off, right? And many people try to justify these things. There are many, what should I say? They will say conspiracy theorists. They will say things which have been happening for years. There are certain terms that people use for this big underground thing which is happening. And maybe Netflix is a part of the whole process subtly, subliminally, without even knowing it. Or they could know it. I don't know. I'm just throwing this out there because it is not good. It doesn't look good. And ladies and gentlemen, just because it has gotten out of hand in a way whereby it's a big thing, that doesn't mean to say it has to get out of your hand. You have a choice, you have a responsibility, and you've got to be protective of your children, children. Let children be children today. And do not try to justify. But if you want to justify, that is you. That is in your MO. If you want to try to say it's a storyline, that is you. That is your MO. But even 1:30 seconds look at that clip. 1:30-second clip. There's no need to go any further to try to look at anything. 1:30 second. It's like you put, what is it? A leaving something like that, mess up the whole loaf or something like that. It just messes it up right there. And there's a massive groundswell against it, right? There's a massive opposition towards it, yes? And therefore you need to join the chorus and the choir in making your voice be heard. Whether that is canceling Netflix, whether that is writing a letter to the people. Sometimes they say that you need to just maybe just deal with the one simple issue. But maybe there is something underhand there at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm SYLBOURNE, and I hope you enjoy your Sunday. It's a beautiful Sunday. May God bless you, and make sure you go to church and you pray against all the evil of this world. That is just one. That is just one, ladies and gentlemen. That's not all. There's much more, but that is just one, whereby you can, based on your position, can take a stand against things which are disgusting, repulsive, leaning towards pedophilia or pedophile. It is pedophilia. When you think about it, it is the hallmark of pedophilia. It is right there in front of our hands. And therefore, and there's even an argument which has been put, well, it is there to show people what is really happening, to show parents what is really happening. Sorry, I said I was going to go a while ago. So therefore, it needs to be shown, it needs to be seen. So I said, okay, if that's the case then, well, the children are having sex. So therefore, what you should do now, create a pornographic children thing to say, ladies and gentlemen, parent, this is what is happening to your children out there. No, no, no. Shut it down. Stop it right there. Silly. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm SYLBOURNE. I'm out.